One young woman buried alive with silver and gold. A father following a trail of sesame seeds through a night of rain and darkness to save his child. And a greedy merchant who paid for his sins with his own life. You're listening to Shadows of Asia, the archive of haunted legends, eerie folktales, and the restless spirits that move through the history of Asia. A place where every stretch of land, every temple roof, keeps a soul and a secret that has never truly slept. And tonight, we open the door to an ancient tale where greed awakened a vengeful spirit, where a young girl was buried alive beneath a mountain of treasure. A story passed down through generations as a warning. Listen now to The Treasure Guardian of Lai-Trieu. Long ago in Lai-Trieu, in the district of Son Nam, there lived a foreign merchant who had come to Dai Viet to make a fortune. Thanks to his cunning in trade, buying cheap at harvest, selling high in the lean months, his profits multiplied on top of profits. Before long, he had become rich. In his house, jewels, silver, and gold were piled in uncountable quantities. Even lords and nobles could hardly compare. But greed has no bottom. Once he held in his hands a river of silver and a mountain of gold, he began to think of taking it all back to his homeland so that his descendants could enjoy it. But at that time, the royal court had issued a strict decree. No foreigner was allowed to carry gold or silver out of the realm. Anyone caught smuggling wealth across the border would have their fortunes seized and be expelled from the country. So he conceived a cruel plan. He thought to himself, if I hide my treasure beneath a temple and claim it as for worship, who would ever dare to question it? So he requested permission from the local village to build a small temple on a barren hill near his home. While the foundations were being dug, he secretly ordered the construction of a deep underground chamber, built with sturdy Batrang bricks, a vault to hide his wealth. He had all the jewels, all the gold and silver he had hoarded, over the years moved into that chamber, sealed it with care, buried it under layers of brick and earth, and covered it all with the image of a quiet, humble temple. But even then, his heart was not at peace. He feared that if his treasure lay hidden too long, someone would one day find it. From the day the vault was finished, he lived in constant dread. He could not sleep, he could not eat. His mind was haunted by the thought that one day, someone would uncover his hoard. So he devised another plan. The treasure needed a guardian spirit, and that spirit would be a virgin girl, buried alive with the gold and silver, forced to become the treasure guardian. Unless the intruder spoke the secret password that he had taught her, nothing, not a single coin would be allowed to see sunlight. The guardian spirit would strike down any stranger who dared approach the chamber. Once his plan was complete, he began searching for a young maiden. An elaborate scheme had been set in motion. A dark performance was about to begin. At that time, in the region, there lived a poor scholar, a man with no land to his name. His only treasure was his daughter, 18 years old, gentle, virtuous, devoted to her father. The two of them lived simply, but in happiness. He cherished his daughter with all his heart, When the merchant heard of her, he immediately prepared an offer. He arrived with betel, wine, and wedding gifts, asking for her hand to take the girl as his secondary wife. He stepped into the humble house, holding a tray overflowing with gold, and bowed politely to the scholar. With honeyed words, he said, "Please accept 100 taels of gold as bride price. I only ask to marry your daughter, so that I may care for her and honor her." The scholar hesitated. "I do not wish to give my daughter to a foreigner, and she is all I have, my only child, the one who tends to me day and night." But then he saw it, 100 gleaming gold bars, bright as fire. He thought of the debts he had no way to repay, and in his heart rose a sharp and bitter ache. He thought, his daughter was of marriageable age. If she married into a wealthy household, at least she would not live in hardship. Tears in his eyes, he forced himself to agree. The girl, for love of her father, swallowed her tears and accepted the marriage. And so a wedding took place, but not with music or celebration. It was quiet, heavy, like the bride's face resigned, sorrowful, as if her expression itself foretold the darkness still waiting for her. From the day she entered the merchant's home, the girl was given a private room of her own. The merchant acted attentive, but he never once touched her. He even forbade meat, fish, garlic, onion. He told her she must live in purity. She must eat only plain vegetables and chant the Buddha's name. Seasons passed, spring into summer, summer into autumn, autumn into yet another spring. Her youth, her springtime, was being locked away behind a closed door. 2 long years went by, and still she slept alone, like a shadow forgotten in a cold, silent house. Every 3 months, he would give her one new set of clothes. Each day, she would sit by the window. She tried to find peace in the Dharma, praying before the altar, lighting incense morning and night. But when night fell, loneliness wrapped around her like a shroud. The stillness around her was so complete it almost hurt. The lonelier she was, the more she missed her father. Many times, she wrote letters to him, wanting to reveal everything. But every time, she burned the letters, afraid to make him worry. At last, she begged her husband to let her return home to visit. He hesitated a long time, then finally agreed, but he warned her, "You will eat no meat. You will return immediately. You will not stay long." The next morning, she set off to see her father. When she arrived, he came out to meet her. Father and daughter cried as they embraced. In that familiar kitchen, the two of them sat together after so many days apart. "My child," he whispered, "I regret it every day. If we had not been so poor, you would never have had to live as a lesser wife like this. How has he treated you since you married him?" She answered softly, "Father, he has never come near me. And lately, every night, I see him and his father leave the house with shovels, and they don't return until dawn." The scholar froze. "It's happening. He's chosen you to be the treasure guardian." He quickly wrapped up a handful of sesame seeds and mustard seeds and pressed them into her hands. "If he takes you anywhere," he told her, voice shaking, "drop these seeds along the way. I will follow their trail." The father gave her those tiny seeds, sesame and mustard, like a lifeline. The girl nodded and hid them carefully in her sleeve. In that small thatched house, the daughter knelt and bowed her head to her father one last time before returning to the merchant's home. The father watched her go, his heart twisting with fear. A sense of unease stirred within her. Though she could not tell what danger awaited, she had no choice left once again. She surrendered herself to fate. From that day on, the scholar visited whenever he could, sometimes every 3 days, sometimes every 5. It didn't matter if the sun burned, or the rain lashed down, or how hard the road was. As long as he could see that his daughter was still alive, he could endure anything. But one day, he was delayed. 10 days passed before he could go to see her. That day, the rain was pouring. He stood outside her door for a long time, calling her name. The back gate, green with moss, stayed silent. "Where is my daughter?" At last the door cracked open. The merchant stepped out with a false smile, holding an umbrella. The scholar stared at him. The merchant only kept smiling. The lantern light flickered between them, cutting across their faces, one sincere, one deceitful. "She's gone to the capital," the merchant said lightly, "just to settle some goods. She'll be back in a few days." Suspicion flashed in the father's eyes. Outside, the rain drummed harder. He forced himself to act calm and sat to share a meal with his so-called son-in-law. The two men ate together. The merchant laughed, kept talking. The scholar said very little. He watched, he listened, he thought. Then he excused himself, pretending to stroll the yard. He walked to the back, along the narrow footpath. And there along the path he saw them. Tiny shoots, green, just sprouting in the wet earth. Sesame and mustard. His heart stopped. My God, they've taken her. He ran through the storm to the seat of the district lord of Sun Nam and told everything. Now the lord who governed Sun Nam in those days was known as an honest man, strict and incorruptible. The moment he heard the story, he ordered 500 soldiers to follow the scholar's lead that very night to Van Lai-Trieu. Following the trail of sesame and mustard, they reached a small hermitage, a temple recently built on a barren hill. When they arrived, troops surrounded the area on all sides. The merchant was summoned at once. "This is the place," cried the scholar. "My lord, dig it up." "This is my land," the merchant snapped. "If you violate it, you'll bring disaster. You'll doom my entire bloodline." "If you are innocent," the district lord said coldly, "why are you afraid?" He gave the order, "Dig." The merchant struggled, shouted, tried to stop them, but it was useless. After only a short while, the first layer of bat-trang brick appeared. Then the curve of a vault, tall enough for a man to stand, revealed itself beneath the earth. Soldiers descended into the chamber, moving slowly, wary of traps. A rush of cold air spilled up from the darkness below. At the mouth of the pit, the father dropped to his knees and prayed for his child. The last bricks gave way, collapsing into the hole. What lay below made even hardened men fall silent. They lowered lanterns. 2 soldiers stepped inside, and then a gasp. In the dim light of the flame, they saw her. The girl, sitting slumped beside a flickering oil lamp, her hands bound behind her back, her mouth sealed shut with pine resin. At her feet, 2 massive chests carved with the words, 1,000 caddies of pure gold. My child, I'm here, I've come for you." The old father stumbled forward, shaking, reaching for her. He held her gently and worked to free her mouth, and there, between her lips, he found a ginseng root, not yet fully dissolved. She was still breathing, buried alive for days, and still alive. The scholar could hardly believe it. Tears spilled down his face, tears of terror and relief and joy, all at once as he pulled his daughter back from the doorway of death. Around them, the soldiers saw rows of smaller chests, each carved, 500 caddies of silver. Silver and gold piled so high that the entire chamber glowed like daylight underground. The merchant collapsed, sobbing and begging for mercy, but the district lord had already ordered him shackled and dragged away. The curtain had been ripped from his crime. An evil, once dragged into the light, cannot hide in darkness anymore. When the vault was fully opened, the treasure shone brighter than the sun. By morning, news had spread to every corner of the province. Villagers could talk of nothing else. Justice was served. The district lord ordered the merchant imprisoned and prepared him for trial. Chest after chest of silver and gold was hauled to the governor's compound. It took nearly 2 full days just to count and measure everything. In the end, the treasure was divided into 3 parts. 1 part was awarded to the scholar and his daughter. The rest was seized for the royal treasury. As for the merchant, the monster who had buried a living girl beneath his greed, he was led to the public square. There, before the people, his head fell. In those final moments, he understood that everything he had done, everything he had killed and betrayed for, meant nothing. But by then, it was far too late. With care and rest, the girl slowly awoke. The villagers later built a real temple on that very hill. They named it the Temple of the Treasure Guardian. And so the tale of greed and of a plan as cruel as the grave was carried on through the ages. In this world, gold and silver are precious, yes, but the human heart is worth more. Those who choose evil for the sake of riches will, in the end, be buried by those very riches. But the bond between parent and child, fragile as a single strand of silk, can pull a soul back from death. The legend of the treasure guardian of Lai-Trieu closes here, but its echoes of greed, of justice, of a father's love continue to haunt the living world. Every corner of Asia hides a legend like this, and Shadows of Asia will return. If you were moved by this story, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below so that each ringing of our storytelling bell can travel farther and reach more listening hearts. We'll see you in the next episode of Shadows of Asia, where another legend is waiting to be awakened.